on, Tad Steege here. This is a video response to my old RE teacher, my buddy Steve. He's talking in one of his latest videos about what happens to our thoughts when we die, and he brought up a lot of interesting, food for thought. It's a very thought-provoking video, and I'm going to tag this to it. Please go watch it. It's really worth paying attention to, especially because it makes you think. And it brought up a few things that I kind of had thought about. I spend a lot of time, I wouldn't consider myself a paranormal researcher, but I do watch some of the paranormal shows. I've been very interested in it for a very long time. And, in my life, I can't definitively say I believe in, stereotypical ghosts. I've never seen anything to make me believe there are ghosts in the world. However, I have seen and experienced enough to make me question things, maybe just this side of science. And maybe some of the things that I've experienced can be scientifically explained. And again, it comes back to what Steve was saying in his video. Basically what happens to our thoughts when we die. And thoughts are simply, scientifically speaking, nothing more than a series of chemical and electrical impulses produced by our brain as a result of stimuli in our lives that we experience. And, it gives way to the fact that, when we die, our body decomposes, the brain decomposes, and if you think of the brain like a hard drive, a hard drive is a physical component, it has a very finite life. Eventually the parts are going to wear out, the parts are going to break down, the parts are going to die, but what happens to the material, the content on the inside of that hard drive? Does it just disappear? And in the case of like a computer hard drive, the simple answer would be yes, those things just disappear. But when you're thinking of memories, things that have happened to us in our life, the time you set fire to the carpet when you were a kid, your graduation, your wedding, your first kiss, the first time you had sex, things like this, things that you'll never forget, what actually happens to those? And it kind of brings to mind when you think of like somebody with Alzheimer's. Somebody with Alzheimer's, they're starting to lose their memory, they lose who they are, they forget relatives, they don't recognize people, but they also retain certain memories. And I've seen this in action. It's a very sad way to die, but I've seen it in action. People who can't remember who you are, you're their son, you're their daughter, they look at you and they don't know you from Adam, but they will recall very specific incidents in their lives because the brain is still retaining that memory. And this leads me to a separate, and getting back onto the paranormal aspect of it all. I've watched a lot of, Sci-Fi has that show Ghost Hunters and each of the spin-offs from that, and there's a theory going on that there are two different types of hauntings, and I can't think of what the first one was, but the second one is what they call a residual haunting. And you may see in movies where there'll be a certain type of haunting where the ghost keeps going through the same actions over and over and over, whether it be putting a glass on a shelf or walking through a door or just standing there staring. And maybe in parallel with what Steve's saying in his video, maybe these are simply memories that have just dissipated into the universe and they're just lingering. And maybe they're not truly what we would consider a ghost haunting, but it's just the universe's way of maintaining these memories, because there's an electromagnetic field all around us in the world. And if thoughts and memories and things like that are electrical impulses created by our brain, it stands to reason that maybe a small part of that electrical impulse is being held onto by the electromagnetic field that the Earth produces naturally. I don't know, it's just my uneducated, kind of spin on the whole thing. I don't know, let me know what you think. I'd like to hear some some feedback on this. And also, man, go check out Steve's channel and check out his channel in general. He really posts a lot of this stuff and makes you think and makes you kind of step back and go, wow, that really kind of makes some sense, or I never really thought about that. Anyway, I'm Tad Steege. I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm out.